If NBA players went on strike and the NBA regular season was delayed or canceled, it could have a devastating impact on the future of the league. But if the WNBA season is canceled, no one is going to care.
Angel Reese just lit the flame, and the WNBA is on the brink of disintegrating. Yet the league is also growing at an unprecedented rate thanks to Caitlin Clark's record-breaking attendance, threatening a labor stoppage that would ruin everything they've created. Ree and other participants.
We deserve more. Everybody.
I agree.
Everybody.
I agree with that. You need to come to the meeting.
I gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us, if y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sitting out.
That's a possibility.
The NBA owns 60% of the WNBA and has been paying for its losses for decades. These players are unaware that if players boycott Adam Silver, NBA owners will actually profit while players lose their jobs. These players believe they have power, but they're going to get a harsh economic lesson that might put an end to women's professional basketball as we know it.
This year, something seems to be off. There seems to be a lot of tension in the WNBA. The offseason has been filled with fear and uncertainty, threats. There are serious concerns that the 2025 season could be the final season of pretend basketball for a while.
Ever wonder why the WNBA hasn't turned a profit in nearly 3 decades? Let's face it, since its founding in 1996, the WNBA has been losing money. This isn't just a minor issue. It's a financial crisis that jeopardizes the survival of women's professional basketball in America.
Unfortunately, we are not living in a perfect world. Matter of fact, we live in a society that has been plagued with the disease of entitlement. We live in a society that expects instant gratification. We have been conditioned to believe that all you have to do is work hard and you're entitled to success.
The league's overall revenue is far less than what players like Angel Ree require in order to meet their requests for bigger wages. As a rookie, Angel Ree earns roughly $75,000 annually, and while she desires more, the numbers simply don't line up. The WNBA Players Association continues to advocate for improved working conditions, increased compensation, and expanded health benefits. But where is all of this funding expected to come from?
The truth is, hard work does not always pay off. In the business of entertainment, hard work is only half the battle. In order for that hard work to pay off, you have to convince people to watch the end result of your hard work.
The WNBA's entire decade-long media deal is worth less than what the NBA makes in a single season. You may be thinking that the new media deal fixes everything, and sure, $2.2 billion over 10 years sounds like a lot of money. But when you compare that to the NBA's enormous $70 billion deal over the same period, that's not just a gap, it's a canyon.
Their deal is a $2.2 billion media rights deal for 10 years. All right? The NBA is over $70 billion for 10 years. Well, that's why you got these ridiculous salaries in the National Basketball Association.
Do you think that difference is real? The uncomfortable reality that no one wants to discuss is that without the NBA's financial support, professional women's basketball would not exist in America at all. For decades, NBA owners have been contributing to WNBA losses, essentially sustaining women's basketball through what amounts to charity.
And for everyone in the WNBA not named Caitlin Clark, their hard work is meaningless because no one is paying to see the end result. Yet for some reason, WNBA players believe that they have the leverage to demand more money.
Most fans are unaware that the NBA owns 60% of the WNBA, meaning Adam Silver and NBA owners actually control the league's future and decide whether the lights stay on. What happens when players demand more money from a business that is already losing money? It's like asking your broke friend to buy you a new car. The math just doesn't work.
Now, if this league is looking for NBA kind of salary, they might as well close the doors. It's never going to happen. All right? The money is just not there.
This isn't about equality or fairness. It's about basic economics. The WNBA hasn't made a profit in almost 30 years, making players' demands for NBA-level salaries financially unfeasible at this time. The financial gap between what players want and what the league can afford isn't just large. It may be impossible to close right now.
Current minimum wage salaries, much less potential million-dollar annual contracts.
Therefore, if the league isn't profitable, who is in charge in this case? The answer isn't Angel Reese or any other player threatening to boycott. Instead, let's examine who is in a position to decide if the WNBA will exist in the future.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they will do that. Keep perspective. If they overvalue themselves, it would be the death of the WNBA.
The strange thing is that games featuring Caitlin Clark receive 1.2 to 2 million views, whilst those without her barely reach 400,000. That isn't merely a minor distinction. It's a game changer for the entire league. The WNBA is seeing figures never seen before, but it's mostly due to one rookie who made all the difference, not because all the players suddenly improved.
Let's just briefly go over what WNBA players have done to actually earn a raise. Last season, games involving Caitlin Clark averaged 1.2 million viewers. Nationally televised games without Caitlin Clark, 394,000.
Although Angel Reese and other athletes appear to be spearheading this new surge in popularity, the data absolutely contradicts this. The real reason is the Caitlin Clark effect. The Indiana Fever went from empty arenas to full sellouts in a single night, and it wasn't because the team's performance suddenly improved. Rather, it was all because Clark on the court and stood by it.
You know, a lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
Have you noticed the changes in ticket prices? WNBA tickets for Caitlin Clark games have increased 400% on the secondary market. 400%, while other events continue to have trouble filling seats. Instead of paying to see the WNBA, people are paying to watch Caitlin Clark play hoops.
This is going to be history. It's like what I told her, that's pretty epic that we get to watch her, you know, because not a lot of games here in Dallas with somebody that big of a star.
TV networks are demanding Fever games for prime time slots, which is something they have never done regularly in WNBA history. TV executives are aware of what attracts viewers, and at the moment, Caitlin Clark is the focus of their attention since that is what viewers want to see.
I told you guys last year when WNBA players and their pretend friends in the mainstream media were ostracizing and demonizing Caitlin Clark. I told you guys they would use Caitlin Clark as leverage to justify increases in their minimum wage.
Now, you may be wondering what would happen if Clark is hurt or decides she doesn't want to cross a picket line during a work stoppage. In that case, the entire house of cards would collapse, with all of the viewers and sellout crowds gone. The players who are threatening to boycott would be effectively removing the one thing that is truly adding value to the league.
The executive director of the Players Union said recently, "There is no better time than right now for women's sports. We are seizing that opportunity." Translation: we need to take advantage of the drawing power of Caitlin Clark while she still has it.
A boycott would remove the WNBA's only real bargaining chip, which is Caitlin Clark's ability to attract 1.2 million viewers. Without Clark playing, the league would once again struggle for attention and every viewer, but the players appear to believe they are in a position of power and that they can make demands, and the league will comply.
Dump. In the dump, everyone not named Caitlin Clark is overpaid. Angel Reese makes around $80,000 a year, overpaid. AJ Wilson making $200,000 a year, severely overpaid.
Angel Reese recently stated that players could be sitting out if you don't give us what we want, but she's missing something important about who is in charge in this situation. She believes she's making a threat, but she's actually handing the situation over. What do you think would happen if Angel Reese and other players actually follow through on their boycott threat? The answer might surprise you.
Nonetheless, it's like their union director is also now talking about a work stoppage. The same thing Angel Reese said during her podcast, threatening we'll go on strike.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver isn't concerned about these player threats because he knows the financial math works entirely in his favor if players don't show up. If WNBA players boycott the NBA, the private equity owners who finance the league's losses would actually save money by not having a season. That's correct. The people in charge of the league's future would profit financially.
WNBA players don't have any leverage, but there is a subset to that problem, and the subset is the real problem. The real problem is WNBA players don't realize they don't have any leverage.
Imagine what would happen to the players in this situation. Athletes earning $75,000 a year would suddenly have no money, and billionaire NBA owners would just move their WNBA subsidies to other places. The owners don't need WNBA games to generate revenue. They have plenty of other lucrative endeavors, but the majority of WNBA players depend on those paychecks to cover their expenses.
Those same players are now using Caitlin Clark as leverage to pressure the WNBA to give them more money. There have been numerous cases where WNBA players pretended to be the ultimate victim instead of pretending to play basketball. Last year, AJ Wilson insinuated that it was scary to play in Indiana because of those racist Caitlin Clark fans. Remember last summer when Angel Reese and Kennedy Carter victimized themselves, claiming they were dealing with harassment while getting off the Greyhound bus? Somehow, there was never any video footage released of this alleged harassment, even though cameras were everywhere. I wonder why.
The WNBA's current momentum would disappear overnight, potentially pushing women's basketball back years or even decades in terms of fan interest, and many players would be forced to play abroad in worse conditions for comparable or less money, completely undermining their negotiating position. They would be dispersed across different countries, making it nearly impossible to maintain a united front.